why don't we call this meeting open and
Mhm.
call it to order and see if I'm guessing that there is no public comment. I don't know if there is, Dylan.
No, no attendees.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if anyone ever wrote in anything. So just covering all the bases.
Yep.
So I see we have few informational things. So why don't we discuss our new business? Do I have a motion to do the jug handle grant? No.
Yeah, well, do we need to make a motion to talk about that?
I guess we really don't. We're just going in order. So there's no
yeah, yeah, no,
real
I'm
voting on it.
happy
So why
to,
don't we talk about
happy
that?
to. Yeah.
Before we do, Matthew, welcome. I'm Brian. I'm the new CG, and I just wanted to say hello, introduce myself to you.
Well, nice to meet you.
You as well. What brings you to the table?
Uh, I do a lot of riding. I'm kind of like Ron. I'm always out there pedaling the bike around and just generally being aware of what's going on. And Richard's the same way, so that's how I got involved with it.
Nice. Thank you for bringing that passion.
You're
Well, we're
welcome.
just about to get into an update on the jug handle grant. I did listen to last meeting's your December meeting, so I'm a little up to speed, but we'll take it from there.
All right. Bruce, do you want to talk a little bit about the grant, or do you want me to start with what I've been doing?
Well, let me talk about the antecedents of the Connecticut Rec Trails program because uh, I've been involved since the start of that. So the program is administered by Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection,
Okay.
as the federal program would be, but Connecticut is the only state in the union that has its own recreational trails program rather than the federal program. So the current Connecticut program is $10 million a year. The federal program would be 1.2 million, with a lot more paperwork and red tape, at least in theory. um, and so that's really why we started to do that through DEEP. Um, the old money, that $1.2 million, reverts back to Connecticut DOT. So that's used for the TA program, for the Transportation Enhancement Act program,
Hmm.
which is most of what that 80% money has built the Farmington Canal Heritage Trail. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so that's mostly federal money that's doing that. So this is state bonding money that we're talking about here. And it's got kind of a wider writ in terms of what you can ask for grants.
Mhm.
In particular, what we're talking about here is feasibility and design money, essentially, and which is hard to find. The feds tend to not uh, subsidize that as well as some other pockets of money. So, uh, in past years, the recreational trails uh, uh, has been actually since its start by legislative fiat. The Connecticut Greenways Council, which I am the chairman of, which I just told you,
Mhm.
vets all of these applications for Connecticut Deep, and then goes to the commissioner, who's Katie Dykes these days, and we say, here's the list, here's the point count, here's who we think should get the money, and it's almost always approved. And there's oftentimes some question and answer periods, but so essentially that's the nuts and bolts of how it works.
Okay.
The current grants are for fiscal year 25. So
Oh, okay.
which would be whatever July 1, right? So um, uh, and the process is that this application closes second week of March, I think.
Yeah.
So the town is currently looking at a couple of different things. First of all, what the scope of this project would be. That's the
Hmm.
first thing. And I'll have Dylan talk about that. But the second thing is the actual dollar amount that they would need uh, to get a very good idea of what a design would look like. And something like, I don't know, what did you end up thinking about in engineering? 20% design, or uh, what are you thinking about?
So, in speaking with Russ, he basically told me if we can get the funds, and we'll go as far as we can with it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think that's the way to do it. Yeah.
In speaking with one of our consultants, their concern is the complexity of the intersection. It's not a standard intersection, as we all know, with the high traffic volumes at peak hours, as well as throughout the day on non-peak hours. And then the high rate of speed in which vehicles travel through that area, especially coming off of Interstate 84 and Route 4 trying to get onto 84 and beat the light. So those were some concerns that they had brought up. My initial request to them was for a proposal for planning and design. So that would include any kind of studies that we would potentially need, concept art, concept plans, maybe an alternative or two alternatives to their proposed plan. And then that would likely also start initial talks with the DOT traffic and DOT encroachment permits.
Yeah. So that was my only question, because we didn't discuss that when we talked. But
Yeah.
so yeah, what about encroachment and permitting? How far down that road do you think we should go?
I think we bypass encroachment and speak only to transportation department at a DOT. Matt Bloom is a former engineer for the town,
Yep,
and he is now the big guy over at transportation.
he is. If we can get him involved, I think he would be very favorably inclined for us.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would hope so. And I've worked with him on a couple of other smaller projects that we've done in the past few months and last year, where it's just easier to get the traffic information that we need from them directly, rather than looking for encroachment permits and guidance through the
Okay.
encroachment office, just because
Yeah.
of who's there, and it'd be better to go through traffic at that point.
Okay.
And encroachment permits would kind of be your design, your
Yeah.
end of design, towards your
Yeah.
final.
Yeah.
And at
Well,
that point, they
I-
will just go under the advisement of traffic.
All right. I bring this up because this does come into play when the town wants to go for construction.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that we have enough done and enough that's cast in stone that we can go to DOT and get in line for TA money, or whatever other programs out there. It could be LOTSIP, it could be a bunch of other, it could be something else. But but we need to have this packaged in such a way that we can go out and get money. That's the idea.
So in terms of what we're going to look for from a consulting standpoint, is we're going to look for planning money, or for a proposal for planning and design. I would like the design to go to 100%. I don't know if they'll commit to that under whatever dollar number they give me to put towards this grant.
Yeah.
Just
well,
because
that-
again, they don't know what the study's going to uncover and require them to do in terms of design.
Yeah.
So his initial thought was maybe we don't go for planning and design, and we just look for planning and do the design maybe next year. If this is a yearly grant, right, Bruce?
It is a yearly grant, yeah, and in fact, it's funded for 26 too. So
Okay.
so it's because it was in the governor's budget, so it's 2-year budget. So there's another 10 million the next round. So
Okay.
the other thing is that the dollar amounts do come into question because it's $10 million, right? So what we've been trying to do is do maximum chunks of money, in the kind of $500,000 range, and arguably more like $200,000 to $400,000 for a lot of these.
Is kind of your cap. Okay.
And, well, we're trying to keep it in that range, right? So
Yeah, more reach that way.
So if for instance they're saying that a full blown design would cost the town 600 grand. I mean, I don't know what it's going to cost, but
I-
which is not out of the realm of possibility. Simsbury is looking for Terrafil 2, which is the connector from the piece they just opened in Terrafil to the Canal Heritage Trail. That's going to include a bridge, which of course we're not doing for this project, but they're thinking that design is going to cost about 800 grand, which is a lot of money just to design a trail.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. When I was riding up Route 4, because I do ride up there pretty frequently to the jug handle, I noticed they're cutting around the catch basins. They've
Yeah.
already cut the pavement and stuff like that. Are they doing work up there this year?
Yeah, it's going to be a paving project similar to the one that they did between Town Farm Road and Monteith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe it's just supposed to be that micro milling, and then with that they'll do drainage improvements as they see fit.
Okay.
Yeah,
I,
but
I just noticed some work, some stuff on the road up there that
Yeah.
had been changed. So,
yeah,
Is
so
that,
that's coming.
are we down to 11-foot wide lanes there, or is it still 12-foot wide lane?
They're most likely still 12. I don't think changing the lane widths is part of the project. I really just think they come in, they mill one night, and then they'll pave one of the following nights. And then
How do
they'll
we
restripe
get
the next day.
how do we get reducing the lane widths on the agenda? You know, the more it's done there, the wider the shoulders are and more bike friendly it is, even if we don't have other infrastructure.
It's certainly worth asking.
Yeah, we can look at it. I'll have to look at the highway design manual. The 12-foot might be dictated to them.
Well, doesn't it have more to do with average daily volume and speed?
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it might have to be 12.
All right. Well, they'll tell you.
Yeah, they'll tell me.
You know, but honestly, if we could do 11, I think that would be fabulous, right? I
That
mean,
would be
Yeah.
huge.
it's also a traffic calming issue too.
Mhm.
And if we,
Right.
I mean, I don't think we have to worry about speed because you go through there anytime between 7 a.m. and
Well,
7
yeah.
p.m. Speed's
And it's
gonna
dead
be about
stopped. Yeah, I know.
15
I know.
miles an hour.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, so anyway, to get back to the dollar amounts, so if they come back with a big number, then it would be quite obvious that essentially what you do is you break it, just into planning, and then phase 2 would be design. So let's see what it comes out at, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering what he's gonna say.
Who is
And-
this, by the way? Who are you working with?
SLR.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Specifically Quasi Brown, who's their lead guy for the US and North America, maybe? I forget.
Yeah. Yep.
But we've been using Maloney McBroom, SLR, Time Bond,
Yep.
and a few others, BHV, a lot. And
Yep.
SLR did the roundabout design, so I contacted them since that's who I know.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah,
I can have you talk to VHB if you want to, but honestly, these guys are all kind of
they're all in the same ballpark.
they're really there's not a ton of difference in terms of the dollar amounts.
No.
Do we know who did the original study at the jug handle? You know, maybe if they did that, they've got a little leg up with knowledge that they've got.
It probably was through Krog,
Yeah,
I
it
th-
was.
I want to say it was Maloney McBroom.
which is now SLR.
Which is now SLR. But it funny that you mentioned that. It could have been Fuss and O'Neill, because I know they did some of that original work too.
They
That's
did do some of that work. That's right.
But so the answer is, Andres, I'm not sure who did that. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What do you think are the next 1 or 2 steps that we need to accomplish to get this drafted by, the middle of March?
Well, we need to get some kind of pricing proposal from one or two major engineering firms. SLR can be one of them, BHV can be the other, or we just run with one if it seems like a reasonable number. And then we can fill. It's a 2-page application. Am I right, Bruce? It's not terribly
Yeah.
long.
No, it's not tremendously long.
Yeah, and for planning and design, you're not submitting all of these maps and concept plans because we're looking for that money.
Yeah.
So it's not a difficult application.
Oh, excellent.
Reach out to some of you.
What we
ahead.
do need are some letters of support.
Yeah.
So, we really should get one from CROG. I'll write one from the East Coast Greenway. Farmington Valley Trails Council should write one. So we'll get those ducks in a row and make sure that we've got, letters of support.
Bike friendly Farmington?
Yeah,
Like-
oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And there's a few other odds and ends. I'm going to go, and I think Dylan's going to go tomorrow at 1. Deep is doing their annual how to fill out the forms Zoom call, and so we're going to go to that. I mean, I kind of know because I've been involved since we started this program about 10 years ago, but I'm going to go anyway just to make sure that I'm up to date on what scores the best points and what have you, because there's an actual matrix that Deep has published. Yep. with this grant, and I think we qualify pretty well for most of it.
Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah, I took a quick look at the points. We fall either at the top or in the middle of most categories.
Yeah, and honestly, I think if we push hard on the issue that we all know is the main issue, which is the community connectivity aspect of this, it's going to score, I think, pretty high. I think, we just have to make sure that we talk about, what it connects, how it connects, and because this is an issue that is not just Farmington, it's regional.
I was going to say, does it help that it's regional connecting West Hartford?
Totally. Yes, it helps a lot. Yes. Yeah. And in fact, I would argue we get in touch with the mayor and have her write a letter. Mayor of West Hartford. I don't see why we shouldn't. And I can't believe she wouldn't.
I'm sure she will. She's a pretty avid cyclist.
She is. Yeah, she's been good. I talked to her not that long ago.
Oh, I'm glad you guys know her. Excellent.
Yeah. No, she's been involved with Bike West Hartford, and they've got some good ideas. They don't necessarily pull it off correctly. The bike lanes on Farmington Avenue come to mind, but
well, the one thing you have to remember, Bruce, is when they did the Farmington Avenue improvements, that she was not mayor.
No, she wasn't.
That was done under the old Barry Feldman regime.
Yeah.
And they really screwed up the roads in that town the way they messed up those roads. So they're playing catch up, but they're trying, at least they're trying.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's a helper too.
Well, honestly, that's the good news. They know they screwed up, so they know they've got to look at it again. So yeah.
Well, maybe they get tired of watering the trees in the middle of Farmington Avenue and open the road back up again.
Yeah.
Well, then, is there anything else that we need to do to move this forward by March? It sounds like Dylan, you and Bruce have this in pretty good hands.
Yeah, I think for the most part we do. When we start filling out the application, I may reach out to a few of you to maybe, write a paragraph about reasoning why this is so important to our community, seeing as you guys are the ones cycling through the community and not myself.
Yeah, and just remember that.
Not yet, anyway, Dylan.
Not yet. That's right.
Now, just remember that as a practical matter, I want to be able to vote on this. So I don't even want to see it.
You will not.
Yeah. I want to make sure that, that we have the, what we used to call on Wall Street, the Chinese wall, right? So, uh, uh, yeah. So, but, otherwise, I'm obviously, I'm happy to, talk about it, in these types of terms,
Yeah.
Yeah,
which I do with a
Understood.
lot of other people too, for that matter.
Yeah.
So, that's fine.
nice.
Okay.
Do you want to move on to our old business and just review our goals and see if there are any more for next year or for this coming year?
Yeah, I think we're ready to move on, unless Bruce, you have anything else to add?
Sorry, I don't mean to force it. I'm just moving along first.
That's fine. That's fine, Brian. Thank you.
Other than the three we have with the jug handle, which we just talked about, the water fountain, which I heard about last month, and the safe routes to schools, which is a great thing. Is there anything that we want to add to this list, or are those three things we know that we can get done in the upcoming year?
So, Dylan, how about the 3 feet to pass signage?
I owe you that, yes. 3
3
feet
feet
to
to pass.
pass. Sorry, I have our map made up, Ron. I need to go through and refine the specific locations.
We can do a field trip. I'm available.
Yeah, we might need to.
You might need a boat.
Right?
Yeah, right
Maybe
now,
we should
yeah.
wait a
So
few
I'm
days.
gonna go with Ron. That's the reason why it's not being done right now, is it's underwater.
But once we have the specific locations, we can give it to the transportation authority here in Farmington, and they will be able to yay or nay it, and we may or may not get signs.
So who does the yay or the nay?
It's our transportation authority. I'm butchering their actual title. Committees. Traffic Review Board.
So do you know how many
They-
people are on that board? And
Yeah, no, I know almost all of them, so it really shouldn't be a problem.
okay,
Yeah, but they're the final say on anything that goes up along the roadways in terms of signage. It's under their
Okay.
authority, not
are
mine.
they citizens or are they employees of
Uh,
Farmington?
staff from PD, including Ryan Collins, my boss Russ Arnold, a representative from the town manager's office. I believe there's 1 or 2 residents. One is a professional traffic engineer. He was actually, I believe he was the lead engineer on the Q Bridge. Well, down south from us. I don't know who the other resident is, if there is one. And then I believe there's a couple officers as well.
So is there an opening? That's what I'm curious. Is
I
it,
don't think so.
there's no vacant? Okay.
No.
All right, do we have any others? Thank you for adding that one. I appreciate that, Ron.
So, I happened to go to the library that I never knew existed, the little one by the
Barney,
little one. It's beautiful.
yeah.
I know we had a lot of snow, but I also noticed that the only bike rack was kind of buried. It could have been dug out. Not to say that anyone is going to use it, but well, I think in a bicycle friendly community, I think we need bike racks to stay clear unless we're talking 3 feet of snow.
Hmm.
Actually, that bike rack does get used because that's my neighborhood, and my kids used to ride their bikes to school, and just to Noah Wallace, which is right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's not an unreasonable request.
Yeah, I'll speak with our highway guys. I'll figure out who does that route.
Just don't tell them it was me because I don't want my driveway to be like,
You want to lose a
plowed in and
mailbox.
storm.
Thanks for doing that, Dylan.
Of course. But in terms of other goals, is there anything else? I mean, the 3 feet to
Goals.
pass signs that, that's a quick one. Is there one more to make it 5 goals or?
Well, I mean, the educational initiatives, right?
That's a good one. Because that is something, are we lacking on education, Ron, for the silver?
So we are lacking on so many things, which I was going to touch on, but so did Neil call in to say he wasn't coming?
Yeah, he shot me an email.
Oh, okay, because I just reached out to him. Okay. Well, when we get to that, are we there right now? Are we at the application?
But we can be.
Okay.
We'll touch on Matt's bike policy after.
Okay. So Carolyn, myself, and our high school senior, Lily Picard, had 2 separate meetings in the past month. And there is a lot of information that I'm not sure of, and that I know some people on this board are. Like, I thought of Andrus right away, so I'm gonna need time aside, Andrus, to hook up with you about different things that go on here and there, because you do a different type of whatever.
Sure.
Jeff, there was a lot of questions about the police department. I'm wondering if I shoot that to you, or if there's, and I couldn't even tell you what it is off the top of my head, but Carolyn did highlight it, and we're gonna put it all together.
Yeah, shoot it to me. If it's not something I can answer or whatever, then I'll funnel it to where it needs to go and get answers.
Okay, great. So at the last meeting a month ago, I had asked for a little bit of help with people putting together the bicycle friendly businesses that they know that they can approach, and for people to write articles, because that's a big part of it, blogging, community outreach. And there was one more thing, a request, and I didn't get anything back from anyone. So I know it was over the holidays. So I'm just hoping that we can get some more help from the rest of the board. I should mention that we have Neil working on a lot of different things too. So
Ron, I did talk to Jeff Gelt.
Great.
Kind of ran some stuff by him as far as us doing like educational stuff and being able to put it up on the Central Wheel website. Now, because of the holidays, I really haven't had a chance to work on that yet, but I was going to do something like just, maybe a 2-minute blurb, a 2-minute video or something like that on bicycle safety or, general bicycle information. And we were going to try and post that on the website to see how it worked. So
Okay.
that's kind of still a work in progress at this time, but that's one of the ideas you gave me last meeting that I've been kind of following up on.
That's awesome. So then, Matt, you can even send that to me for the Facebook page, and we can go with that even on some of the community Facebook pages.
Yeah, let me work it and see if it works. If it doesn't work, then we'll have to come up with something different. But if it works, I'll definitely forward it to you.
Yeah, once we have
Perfect.
something that everyone likes, is that something we could share with Rose Ponce that she can share in the Economic Development newsletter and go right to the businesses?
Oh, okay, that's Rose. Okay, good.
I used to be the chair of that committee, so I know her pretty well, as so many other people here do as well.
I hadn't even thought really, well, I guess, Bruce and I did have a meeting once, and I'm quite sure you mentioned that, Bruce. And so, yes, thanks.
Yeah,
Brian.
yeah, we want Rose involved with this.
Okay.
Yeah, no question. And she'd love to do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will set up a meeting with her
Just a thought.
and get together.
Ron.
No, Brian, thanks.
Ron, if I may, when you speak with Rose, just include me in on the email. I do
Oh,
work with her on a few other projects. And then I spoke with Rose a little bit ago, and she to do this, all she would need is a small little blurb from us on why a business should do this, or to get them to go to the website.
Okay,
If
And-
we could put that together ahead of any meeting, that would be huge. for
okay,
her.
and we're actually in the process of doing that. Why?
Yeah.
What makes it? Why it's important to become a bicycle friendly
So-
business?
She told me just a couple of sentences. If it's any longer than that, she said they'll probably just skip over it. So if we make it brief, and maybe at the end of it, it has a QR code or maybe a link or instructions how to get more information, that would probably be the best route.
And if they do ignore it, there's always hello.
Yeah, exactly.
So we can do that too.
Yep.
I'll let so as far as the 5th grade bike safety school curriculum, Neil is working on that. He's been in touch with Beth, and we're going to at some point have a presentation for the Board of Ed. That's about as far as we've gotten there. We have a lot of support with the 5th grade PE teachers. Kurt,
Kyle Chaves.
well, Kyle's at Union, but the 5th grade, he's
Oh,
a cyclist.
That-
Kubik?
Yes, at the upper elementary.
Yeah, 5th grade. Yep. Anyway, so we've got to put that together. We're hoping to have it for next year, but we still have a ways to go.
Well, I'd
I'll
also like to point out, the Noah Wallace, the gym teacher there, he found out a way to get his kindergartners, a bike education curriculum. There's a company, that provides a fleet of bicycles and a curriculum for $6,000. And Noah Wallace, they were able to get the money relatively easily, and he's teaching all of the kindergartners to ride their bikes every year. So it's, I mean, it could easily be repeated in any of the other elementary schools. It does take $6,000, but they provide you with kind of everything you need. It's some company or nonprofit that have written down somewhere, but that's how he did it. So I think it's an option maybe for other elementary schools too. It would be good to have bike education kind of at all levels of education, instead of, so it's a worthy goal to have it in the upper elementary school, but also I think elementary schools, it would be great to have that there too.
Did
Yeah,
we get
so
any where
Carolyn and I and Neil just met with the principal yesterday, and they are going to also participate in our Bike to School Day, as is we've got commitments from Union, of course. We are working on West District, which Carolyn, I believe. is
Yeah, we
pretty
had a
much-
meeting with her in February.
Okay, yep. We're hoping for Westwoods again because that was very successful. And I think we're going to be able to work something out with East Farms this year. We were very close last year. It fell through for whatever reason. So we could actually have all 4 elementary schools on board, as well as the 5th and 6th grade. Andrew.
Would it make sense to have either a blurb up on our town page or on Bike Walk Farmington or something like that? So it's, kind of just a heads up, here's what we're planning. Here's the committed ones. We're looking for blah, blah, blah. If you're in this school and you'd like, and you could help, please let us know. And then that way, instead of, reaching within this tiny little circle, there's probably a lot of people that would see, oh man, how come Union gets to do a bike to school day, but we don't? And then it comes and goes and they don't think any more of it. And, kind of like, here's your chance.
Oh, are you talking about what do we have, 7 schools?
Yeah. The other ones where, if you don't have a champion at the school to kind of push it.
So we've kind of got that covered.
Okay.
So we have Patty, Picard,
Yeah.
Willie's mom,
Yeah.
who is now on. She's our third member of Bike Walk Farmington,
Yeah.
and she has taken on the task, along with Carolyn, of reaching out to every school.
Okay.
So every school knows that they have the opportunity, and we've met with most of them, or we're going to meet with most of them. Now, the problem that could arise is every school wants to do it, and then we don't have at least 1 or 2 of us on the morning of each ride. Because, Brian, each of these are done separately.
Okay.
Each of these rides, and they're about 2 miles. They're at before the school day begins. So by the time the first bell rings, they're all back. And Farmington Police Department is like so totally involved.
Yeah.
You actually couldn't do it without them.
But Ron, I don't know if we need, it's kind of thinking like, how can this grow beyond us? I don't think we need to actually lead a ride. If there's a route, and the gym teacher is going to take, the lead per se, or the principal or whoever, whether one of us is on that ride or not, I don't think matters.
So we've kicked this around a lot, and what it does by having one of us there from either this town board or Bike Walk Farmington, whatever you want to call it, is that, we're showing our presence, we're talking to the parents, we're telling them about the 5th grade program, and that's what they have to look forward to, and please support it if it comes down to that. And just that they know that there's this organization that is outside of the school and putting all this together. Now, that can be written in some, but I always thought that being there, because I'll go in the Stop and Shop and I'll still get parents from 5 years ago saying, oh my God, the best day of the year was when we got to ride to school. So they make that connection like that. And I just think it's great for a bicycle-friendly community. I do know what you mean, because Union now, with Kyle, can definitely run by themselves. But I also like to be there for Farmington Police Department to kind of just connect with them, to let them know what we're doing, especially on the schools where we're doing it for the first or second time. But yes, eventually you are right. It's gonna have to run itself, because some of us aren't getting any younger, and
we also have other projects we want to take on,
and we do. So that's about it as far as that goes. Now, as far as another big portion of this application is teaching out in the community. So I had reached out to the senior center, and I don't know why I shouldn't say that word. So I'm going to be doing something there. But after the visit yesterday at Noah Wallace, this one up here, Carolyn, said, oh, why don't you go check out that library? So of course I can't go in there without talking to people, knowing half of them. And all of a sudden I'm volunteering to do bike safety classes at the libraries. So I have the number of the person to get in touch with, and that's a perfect way to get the group that we need, the kids and the parents together. And if we do it, evenings, we can get some of, you to help out if it's during the days. I know we have a couple people who can show up then. And I just think it's a great, great way to expand our teachings, sound religious here, and fulfill our obligations for the application. So
So Ron, I've mentioned this before, but you know, I speak all over the Northeast, and in fact, I'm speaking in Washington in a month, on bike ped issues, and you know, so you know, set me up. You know, it's my hometown. For God's sake, I'm happy to, you know, talk about stuff.
Awesome. And believe me, you know that I reach out to you, and I know that you get back to me, and
Yeah,
you know,
no, just you know, no, just you know,
yes,
just be aware. I've got, you know, I got a lot of other stuff going on, but
right.
but give it enough time and scheduling, I'm more than happy to.
Okay. We can
to-
even do a
to-
little comedy routine, bounce things off
Yeah,
each other.
yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
So as Bruce can attest to, and Carolyn, the application is kind of, and Dylan, is kind of mind-boggling compared to the first one that Andres, you were, you know, part of, and whoever else was here at the beginning. I think that's about it. It's pretty intense. So I hope you guys don't mind if I don't want to say a sign, but if I send certain things out that I know you are, you know, that you know more about than I do,
Mhm.
which is a lot.
Wow, you guys got a lot going on. That's great to see.
Yeah, there actually is a lot going
Yeah.
on. And we have very high goals.
And good ones.
And the community outreach to me is at the top of the list.
Yeah.
I'll stop talking.
No, I love, yeah, and education's so important to making the mission come to life.
Mm-hmm.
So Ron, since you stopped talking, any movement on getting somebody from the Board of Ed to join? You know, it's critical to kind of getting all of this aligned.
So that was something else that Neil was working on through Beth.
Okay.
So
Now,
that
when you
was
talk
gonna be
about Beth, is that Beth Kintner?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know her. Yeah.
And I know she's stretched out really, you know, thin. So I don't know if she has anyone in mind. Brian, I don't know if you have any connections there.
I do.
We can offer, I don't know, candy, or I don't know what we have to offer.
A tandem bike ride with Ron pedaling.
I've got old bicycle friendly Farmington t-shirts, magnets, everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Brian, feel free.
Okay. You know, I'm being very careful about where I insert myself and step on toes here, because this is your group, and just so excited to see what you guys are doing and find out where I fit in best.
Brian, I'll tell you right now, this group right here, it's a great group, and there's not a person here who would feel like you are stepping on our toes.
Very
Believe me.
good.
Yes.
Because I'm like you. I am very happy to help.
And I can see the excitement in, you know, that you have in this, and I'm just relieved that we've got someone that has a real interest. So
I was all set to jump in and say, hey, I live right across the street from East Farms. I'm ready to go over there and talk and bike with them.
all right,
Oh, absolutely.
I'll be in touch.
So what's going on with this other thing on here, the bike policy draft? Yeah, am I jumping around?
If I may, I left that on there because at some point we're going to have to update our complete streets policies, especially Bruce, correct me if I'm wrong, but Vision Zero, I believe, passed. Did it not?
Yeah, it did. Well, most of it passed. A couple pieces of it didn't pass, but yes. So we should there should be language about Vision Zero in Farmington's policy.
Yep.
The other thing that occurred is Connecticut DOT announced their policy. So we should also, in Farmington's language, you know, at the very least, you know, talk a little bit about Connecticut DOT's internal policy as it relates to state roads in Farmington.
Yeah, we do have quite a few of those.
We got a lot of them. So,
Yeah.
More than most other towns.
yeah, well, yeah, and they go straight through town. So, so yeah, we should discuss that as well. But yeah, at some point we should get together some folks and just think about, what the shortfalls are in the current policy, and then just, get some sort of a draft together, Brian, and put it in front of the town council.
And we can look at other towns as well too, right, Bruce? To kind
Oh,
of,
absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there, there's a bunch of really good ones. Connecticut's all across the board. We have 169 fiefdoms, and and they run the gamut from remarkably well written. New Haven is a good example. It's phenomenally good. To some really half-assed ones. So
ours is somewhere in the middle.
ours is pretty good, actually.
We got both cheeks and
Yeah.
Bruce, just one more thing. I lost track of it. The Idaho stop, was that one that got kicked out, or it was being reviewed in March?
I was going to ask the same thing. From what I understand, the Idaho stop was in Vision Zero, and that it's not a law or anything like that, but it just said very nebulous language of, it's there to be studied, and the state of Connecticut will study it. I was going to ask this. I was going to ask the same question. Is like, okay, what does that mean? Can we have Jeff volunteer to get the entire police department behind this idea and say, hey, this is a great idea that now cyclists can clear the intersection faster and do it safely, or what?
So I believe that March was the deadline for that study, which I didn't understand, or I don't understand who is doing that and what they're going by.
I think it was DOT was supposed to, quote unquote, study it, and I'm never quite sure what that means. And essentially come back to the legislature with language.
Is that a Matt Bloom question?
It could very well be. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it could very well.
I'm just afraid of like they studying something and not getting the full whatever. If somebody's going in there with a pre-approved agenda to shut this whole thing down, I'm hoping not, because why else would they go through the effort of putting it on the bill to start with? But
that was a committee I was on, and we strongly suggested it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was one of the that we voted. So yeah.
Now, red light cameras did pass.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of other things passed. But there's a tremendous amount of language involved. In fact, the red light cameras portion, I think, was 7 pages of language. Weren't
they saying they had to justify them based on traffic
so the
flows
town,
and things like that?
Yes,
exactly.
Yes. So in fact, it's not as simple as saying we want red light cameras. You got to go through a whole rigmarole to, and there's going to be a lot of municipalities that aren't even going to bother, because
they did the same thing with the red light cameras that they did with the adjustment to speed limits.
Yep.
Same exact thing. It's so complicated.
Yeah, no, it's almost ritualistic the way they make things a pain in the ass in the legislature. It's quite remarkable. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, Dylan, speaking of speed limits, I haven't seen, so remember we talked about when you took that right from Main Street onto going on the flats, that first speed limit sign around those is 40 miles an hour, and that's like insane right there. Like I drove it, I keep driving it, and you feel like you're out of control.
Hold on.
Maybe you need some new tires.
No, we had talked about this at another meeting. You said you were going to look into it.
Yeah.
And you were kind of surprised it was 40.
As long as they don't straighten the roads out like Avon Old Farms, I mean, it's killing the character there. But
do you know where I'm talking about?
So you're turning onto Meadow Road from Main Street.
Right, and there's that first speed limit sign.
Well, I'm gonna find it.
Ryan, you're talking about turning onto Meadow Road if you're heading towards Plainville, right?
No, the other way.
So
From
you're
Or
on
Bristol
Meadow
to-
and you're taking a right onto Main.
No, you're on Main, you're making a right or left onto Meadow, heading towards the flats. You know, it's the little
Yeah.
zigzags before you get to the flats.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'm just wondering if
where the
people are
bridge is
s-
that's flooded right
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah, it is flooded.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just wondering, Ron, I just wonder if people self-police
40.
themselves there. You know, like even though it's 40 and that might be appropriate for the rest of the flats, you know, are people still, you know, driving 40, 45 through that section, or do they wait till they get to the, you know, I don't bike that part a lot, so I don't know if cars are actually speeding through there or if it's kind of just feels fast like the Merritt and some River Parkways do.
I drive that a lot because I use that to go to the firehouse when we have calls. And what I
Yeah.
find is people slow down for those curves.
Yeah, they do.
If you're a cyclist and you're coming down the hill onto the meadows and onto the flats, you can usually drill it and you don't have a lot of issues with cars. If you were going the other way, then there's, it gets a little tight.
So when we had the meeting with Scott Bushy, is it Bruce?
Yep.
One of his main points. Oh no, Bruce! It was the League of American Bicyclists guy.
Oh,
At
okay.
the Bike Walk Connecticut
Oh, in Hartford.
was how you need to lobby your town because most of the speed limits are just too high. And I know I'm on roads that are 35 miles an hour, and you're like, why 35 miles an hour? You have to start thinking about bicycles at some point and vulnerable road users.
Yep.
I know it's a lot. It's a whole nother subject. So
Well, we talked about that anyway. We talked about if they do improvements on the meadows and that road going all the way up to Red Oak Hill, about widening it and making it a better road. But that may not be not be something we can do until they do improvements on that road.
Yeah,
Okay.
and speaking to improvements on that road, we're looking towards getting federal funds to replace that bridge anyways. On Meadow Road, we have only spoken with them. We haven't done anything further. So it's in the pipeline, so to speak, but it's something that we would be looking to do because that bridge is considered scour critical.
mhm.
One of the things
And-
you guys will find with that particular area is that the speed that the cars go through there is really not as much of an issue as the sight distance is on those S curves.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That they're not going to see you until the last second because you're riding across the meadows, you're out in the open.
Yeah.
You're very visible. They can go 40 through there without a problem.
So that's the whole thing is you want people to go slower so you have more time to react. So
Well,
I would
but
just
only in
urge
the S curves, Ron.
I would just urge everybody to Google the difference between somebody being hit, a vulnerable road user, at 25 miles an hour opposed to 35, and look and see the difference between the bodily harm.
Oh yeah. Well, that's well known. That's the hockey stick, where life expectancy, it's the blade of the hockey stick, right? So it's somewhere around 27 to 35 miles an hour, where if you get hit, you start to be very dead.
Cars go pretty, I mean, just driving that, I drive that road a lot, dude. Cars definitely go much faster than they should on that road
Mhm.
in general.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously,
We're getting up toward like
Yeah.
50. That's pretty fast considering there's a trail that's right next to the road that isn't protected even.
well, when I was a kid in Farmington, living in the village, it was great fun to get your car launched off of the old bridge, the old sandstone bridge, because it had the big hump in it. So you could get air over that one.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that bridge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
All right.
have we touched base on the Farmington Valley Trails Council update yet? Is that pretty much what we've covered?
No, so the meeting was just oh, it was the night of the national championship game, and they went so late, and I missed part of it. So I'm trying. You know what? I would just say for the events to go to the Farmington Valley Trails Council website because there's some events coming up. Earth Day, what I could probably use is some help coordinating a trash pickup. What's it called, Bruce? So each town now, each representative on the board from different towns is responsible. We used to have one big town area-wide pickup for trash along the trail, and now each town has to do it. So Avon is separate. The Avon cycling community does trash pickup on the same day that the whole town does, which is Earth Day probably for everyone, for Canton, for Avon, for Farmington.
That's pretty much when everybody does it, yes.
So last year I didn't even do it because I couldn't find any help, and I'm like, I don't have time to do it. So if we could start thinking ahead to Earth Day, and if I can get some help putting something together, then we can do it again. And get people focused on the trail. We can sign people up to do the trail itself. And then the town supplied us 2 years ago with bags and everything. So it's just a matter of putting our tent up and people manning it and putting it together. Yeah. I don't have my notes in front of me I do. So is the water fountain in yet?
No, it won't be until spring.
So I won't, okay, because I was in charge of taking a picture of it. So I could cross that off.
Yeah.
Dylan, do we have the water fountain?
Not yet, no.
Okay. When do we expect to receive it?
I'm not sure at this moment.
Has it been ordered?
No, we have not ordered it yet.
Okay.
It's gonna be green, I know that. I know which one it is. I have to call this supplier, but we were busy last month and
I'm just concerned about it. Yeah, I'm just concerned about it getting to be March and then and then everyone else wants one too.
Yeah. So I apologize. I was supposed to order that and I didn't.
Okay.
So Matt, you might be interested in this for Central Wheel. So we're hoping to have an area-wide expo at the Simsbury Library on Sunday, March 3rd from 2 to 4, where we'll have vendors and Bike Simsbury, Bike Walk Farmington, blah, 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 and different bike shops. And they had Simsbury Police last time. Last time we had it, it was a great event. They had CCCP.
I will mention it to Jeff, but that's also the first day of the Frozen Four, so all hands are going to be racing.
Well then, okay, that's fine. I just want to mention it for everyone.
Yeah, I got to get in touch with Laura Risotto, but I'll do a table for the East Coast Greenway and some of the other organizations as well. So,
all right, great.
Yeah, I just got to get in touch with her.
What day is that on, Ron?
It's March 3rd. It's Sunday, March 3rd.
Yes. Which is a change from it's March 3rd now. And just a heads up for everyone, there's a project that's going to be going on. There's going to be a renaming of not the little portions of the trail as they're named now. There's going to be an umbrella naming of the trail. And it's going to be the New Haven and Northampton Canal Greenway. And that'll go from New Haven all the way to Northampton. And Bruce, the reasoning is because that's what the rest of the country does, just so people know that you're not just on little trails that don't lead. It's that they all connect, and there's something to do with federal money.
Well, the end game would be to apply for federal trail heritage status, like the Blackstone River Trail in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, and then we could qualify for a whole bunch of different grant structures. So that's kind of the end game with that. there's still one town in Connecticut that hasn't agreed yet.
And-
And then of course DOT has to approve, which
Yeah.
is actually both DOTs have to approve. Mass DOT has to approve too.
Mhm.
So stay tuned. It's going to take a little while longer, but we've been working on this for I think 3 years.
It's very close, and Bruce, you're gonna be called, just a heads up, to
Oh, I'm sure.
be a part of that contingency to go to
Yeah.
the unnamed town
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
agree.
Okay.
Dylan, as far as like the signage that will happen is very cheap. And so we'll have more information later.
So all of our Canal Heritage signs are gonna have to be switched out?
Nope, nothing
No.
has to be switched out.
No?
No.
This is like a huge umbrella over the entire trail. There will be
Okay.
nothing changed locally.
Okay, and what
Now-
was the general trail name before?
The Farmington Canal Heritage Trail in
Was the general
Connecticut.
name?
In Connecticut. Now, it didn't even used to be that. Where we are, it used to be the Farmington Valley Greenway for many, many years. And we finally worked on Connecticut DOT to get one name for the whole thing in Connecticut. So the 56 miles in Connecticut. The problem is actually not so much Connecticut, it's Massachusetts, where I believe it's got 5 different names in Massachusetts. So it's the Columbia Greenway. It's it's a million different things.
Right.
So again, the idea was in conjunction potentially with new signage when New Haven is complete as early as this year, but likely when the final design for Plainville 3 occurs, which should be late this year, early next, probably late this year. They'll have that nailed down. That's the last design study for Connecticut for the Canal Heritage Trail. And that should go directly back to a little planning board we've got. And what we're going to do is apply for probably either a state or a federal grant to do mileage signing from mile 0, which is Long Wharf in New Haven, all the way up to Suffield for the first time ever. Because I think you're all aware, there's 2 different mile 0s right now on the Canal Heritage Trail. And so the mileage signing has never worked correctly.
Hmm.
In fact, in some cases, it's wrong. So the idea would be essentially to get one big grant and over a period of a year or two, redo the mileage signing for all of the municipalities going all the way up to Northampton, with the idea that it would also serve finally correctly as emergency markers as well for emergency personnel, for the police and for the EMTs.
And that's probably the most important.
Yeah, well, it's extremely important, I think, but quite frankly, it's also important if, when this thing's finally complete in, let's call it 2027, it could be 8 maybe, but it's going to be complete in the next couple of years.
Mhm.
And we're going to see more tourists. We're going to see more people, coming through on it. And we want them to know where the hell they are,
Right.
right?
How to get to a restaurant.
Yeah, well, that's the corollary to this, which is, economic wayfinding and, some signage, and yeah, absolutely, yes, yep.
Excellent. Hey, Dylan, can I just check in with you? Have we covered everything that you feel we need to cover for this meeting before we go on to approval of the minutes?
Yeah, I
Have we
believe
missed
so.
anything?
I don't think we missed anything. I think we're all set.
Anything else we need to bring up before we ask for a movement on the approval of minutes?
Just one last note. If you go to Connecticut Trail Finder now on the web, I believe it's complete. The whole every trail in Connecticut is now on there.
Well, not every trail in Connecticut, but most of them. I think there's they got 150 trails on there now, but the Farmington Canal Heritage Trail is now complete on Connecticut Trail Finder .yukon.edu. That's the URL. So you can find it easily on that. Norm, I think, finally finished that up with them.
Yep.
And so that's really good news.
It
Yeah.
is.
Oh, so anyway, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, excellent. Do we have a second? There we go. We have our second. Thank you very much, Carolyn. All in favor of approving of the minutes?
Aye.
All right, we're good to go.
Brian, thank you for this. Dylan, thank you.
All right, very welcome. It was very nice to meet all of you. Thank you guys for
Thank
what
you,
you
guys.
did. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn? So moved twice. Okay, all in favor, we are good to go.
All right,
Guys, I look forward to working with you over the next couple of years. So thank you very much for everything.
thanks.
Thank you. We'll see you guys later.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.
So long. Take care, everyone.
Bye.